Hello and welcome to part 2 of the OpenJVS arcade cabinet video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the current state of the project. Now this is one of those ones I've been working on for a good while, and what you're going to see today represents like a lot of work. There was a minor problem with the actual hardware of the project that held me up a bit, but as you can see, as compared to the part 1 video, the cabinet is fully assembled now. I cut a little hole in the front for the USB cable to come out the front for going into the arcade cabinet. Then, of course, there's this little fake arcade control panel. And when I actually 3D printed this part, the joysticks didn't print. So I actually printed the joystick that was, I'll show it to you in a minute, the little lock thing on the back had a stick that makes it go back and forth and do the little lock. So I just basically sized it right for this. I have to touch up the paint, of course, but this isn't final. It still needs some work. And then when you open this, I have a USB extension cable that will be used to plug the controls in. I'm going to probably think of a more elegant solution, like putting in a USB hub inside. Now, going around the back here, you'll see this, as I had said previously in my videos, this is based off of the new Net City arcade cabinet. So here's the little thing that the USB-C adapter for the Raspberry Pi plugs into, and that would supply it with power. And you can see the video cable, and that's the USB cable that you saw coming out of the control panel. Now in the back here, here's where all the fun happens. That's our control board for the monitor and the little adjustment board for the monitor. You'll see the HDMI to micro HDMI in there. And then I just need to eventually port this out of the hole that comes out of the bottom of the screen thing. But that's kind of one of those to be done type things, because that's the power for the monitor. And of course this closes, well, when we don't have cables sticking out here, this will close quite nicely. And as I'd made mention of before, see, this is the little lock thing that I used to make those joysticks, because the joysticks themselves simply did not print right. You'll see there's the back of the marquee. I put up these two little brackets here that I super glued in place because I figured they would hold the marquee a little bit better than it being just glued there. I made this door with this big hinge here, and then of course there is the Raspberry Pi 4 that powers the whole project. I'm probably gonna have a little fan here eventually that blows some cold air into the Raspberry Pi just to make sure it doesn't overheat. And then you look here and yeah, there's the other side of the cabinet. And yeah, that's basically our whole project here. And of course, the screen bezel thing isn't in place yet, so that's why it kind of is hanging loose here, but that will eventually be fully, I don't know if glued or clipped or something in place. And of course, our 5-inch LCD screen here where all the action happens. And what I do have is the mouse dongle I plug into the Raspberry Pi in order to actually control all the functionality of OpenJVS, which then would be displayed here on the screen. And then those two power cables, which are actually down here, I would just plug into an extension cord, which allows me to just plug it all in with one plug. I might think of a more elegant solution. And you can see both of the doors here are just on with these 3D printed hinges, which all of the hinges are the exact same hinge, just printed in various sizes. And eventually I will paint the little lock thing that holds the back closed. But that's kind of the general gist of what the project looks like right now. But in about a minute here, I will go downstairs, have this connected to one of my arcade boards, and kind of show you how the functionality works on this. And we'll go through a little bit of gameplay. So I'm going to go downstairs and show you how this whole crazy setup works. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, we have the OpenJVS arcade cabinet on the coffee table here. I plugged in the Raspberry Pi 4 adapter here, and we have the AC adapter that's plugged into the screen here. That's this one here. And now this extension cord here is already plugged into the wall. So now all I have to do is plug both plugs into here. One that'll power the monitor, as you can see that says HDMI, and the other that'll power the Pi. And now we should be getting our Raspberry Pi booting in just a minute here. Well, actually, I just realized, gotta hit the button. And then there goes our Raspberry Pi, which should then initialize our screen. Yep, there it goes. And then I'll just turn on the mouse here. Here's the mouse. Oh, there goes the Raspberry Pi desktop is booting up. And let me, well, while we're waiting for that to boot, I'm going to go ahead and turn the TV on, which will have the Super Mario Kart Arcade GP on it. And we can then we can get the game running all good and everything. But okay, I've gotten to the TV to the right mode. And now what I'm going to do is get my Xbox 360 racing wheel here out, which is what I'm going to use to control the game. And basically, as I said, do the first actual gameplay of the OpenJVS arcade cabinet since it was put together here. So let me just get the steering wheel and pedals all out here. And we're going to basically hook everything up as if I was going to like play the game for a while and see that everything works here. So let's see, here's our USB cord for our controls. I'm gonna throw that here for now. Connect up the pedals because these Mad Catz NC2 racing wheels use like one of these guys that plugs into the side of the steering wheel assembly. And of course that's a lot more convenient than having to use one of those like 100-pound control panels. Trust me, I know. If you remember my old videos from Initial D, I had that big control panel from Initial D. That thing works, but let's face it, that works a lot easier. Okay, so now we got the controls, and all I'm going to do is this. Open up the control panel, pull out the little USB extension thing, and plug our controls in as if we were using them. And that lights up the little thing on the Xbox 360 racing wheel. As I said, in the future I'll have a more elegant thing here for that. So all we have to do is get into command line here and then type sudo OpenJVS Mario Kart, and it's Mario-Kart if I recall correctly. Yep, and you can see here it says player 1 is generic Xbox pad emulating a Sega Type 1 IO, and yeah, it's all ready to go. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the Triforce and see if it's okay with everything going on here. So we're going to do that, and hopefully this all works together. On the first official test run of the OpenJVS arcade cabinet, just got to find the actual plug that's for the Triforce here, which is this one. And plug it on in. And hopefully our Triforce has saved its settings and I don't have to go back in and set up free play again. Yep, Now you'll notice it's getting some feedback from the Triforce. They're basically talking to each other right now. And if we look up at the TV, well, it's not really doing anything right now. It's actually just doing that countdown where it has to see if it has a link to another Triforce board or not. And you'll see our OpenJVS, which is why I like the little screen on here. I'm going to get that a little bit more centered in the, like, when it's 100% final. It's like 85 to 90% final at the moment, but I can see everything the board is talking back to the OpenJVS with and not have to be basically running this headless. I can see the whole code here, and, which I will be doing in the future, I could run other things on the Pi related to the arcade setup, but here is our TV setup here. I'm going to just get the camera a little bit higher so it doesn't have to be hunched back as much. And then there's Mario Kart is booting up. Oh good, it's still on free play, so it saved our settings. So let me grab the panel and see if I can actually play this with our OpenJVS using the OpenJVS arcade cabinet for the very first time. So I just press my start button. No, what was it? Oh yeah, it was gas pedal in this game, my bad. So this one. So Luigi. And of course there's no camera, so it's not going to let me use one. And then I will go ahead and do some single player here. And yes, I'm using the Xbox 360 wheel. I'm not using an actual arcade cabinet here. It says skip. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's telling me, like, how I can actually, like, get items and stuff in the game. And just for fun, I'm going to just quickly play a course here, and we'll see if our OpenJVS works well. Oh, wow, I actually got a boost. Oh, yeah, the shifters, which are the little paddle shifters, are actually your item button. And if you've never played Mario Kart Arcade GP, I would highly recommend it. This game is great. Developed by Namco, not by Nintendo. This game so should have been brought home. I'm kind of like disappointed that they never brought this game home. But yeah, as you can see, everything is working great. And like with this setup, I can play Mario Kart Arcade GP, or of course my other board, which is F-Zero AX, which I will be featuring more videos of both of these games eventually. And since I'm kind of trying to give you a meaningful commentary and play at the same time, I'm not exactly playing all that well. But the general gist here is everything is working just fine. And just as I had showed you before, you can kind of see how the whole point of the screen being here, and we're not running this setup headless, because the idea is that I can then see what OpenJVS is doing at any point. If there's a problem, I can restart the program and still have my I/O working without a problem. But yeah, that's basically our gist here. We got OpenJVS working in the arcade cabinet. We got the little screen and everything. And yeah, definitely look forward to more updates on our OpenJVS setup here. And I will be posting some more updates when I have the arcade cabinet a little bit more finished, and that will be on in another video. But For now, we can play Mario Kart Arcade GP or any game that requires steering wheel and pedals. And of course, it goes without saying, instead of plugging our, well, now that we're crazy high on the tripod here, but instead of plugging our Xbox 360 racing wheel, or of course using the Triforce there, we can use a different piece of arcade hardware and just plug like an Xbox 360 pad into here and just play with buttons. But as you can see, as I had said a few times here, OpenJVS is fully functional in the arcade cabinet, kind of as a self-contained unit. I don't know if I'd mentioned it before, but this is the little USB-like cable that comes out of the OpenJVS hat that sits on top of the Raspberry Pi 4, and then that plugs directly into the Triforce's JVS socket, and that allows basically our Pi 4 to communicate with the Triforce and let us control our games. But yeah, other than that, that's going to be all for today for the part 2 of the OpenJVS arcade cabinet. As you can see, we've made massive progress, and now it's fully functional as a self-contained unit. All I basically need to do is some more painting, a couple adjustments to the cabinet, and we can call this one done. So you will most likely, probably at this point in a couple months' time, because I need to finish the painting, and then I need to clear coat it, and I need to wait until it gets warm to do the clear coat, because that particular stuff does not dry properly if it's too cold outside. But that'll all be in part 3, which will most likely be the final part of the OpenJVS arcade cabinet, unless there's some other development in the future that I see fit to make another video on. Well, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye.